Alright guys, welcome back to this Numpy tutorial series. In the last video we learned how to update and copy an array from one array to another. In this video we are going to learn how to initialize array, and this video is going to be really practical because a lot of things that we are going to be learning today are going to be used a lot in the future when you are using it in data science, machine learning, statistics, or whatever you want. So let's get started. The first thing we need to learn is how to initialize zeros, and this is very simple. The whole video is going to be really simple but really important. So to initialize zeros, I'm just going to create a variable and then np.zeros, and then inside that I'm just going to write a number. Let's say we want a simple one-dimensional array with 5 zeros. So we are going to do that. Let's just print it out and see how it looks. Let's run this out, and you can see that 5 zeros have been printed over here. Now what, instead of this one-dimensional array, what if we want a 2x2 array or a 3x3 array? So what we can do is, inside this we are going to first create a tuple, and then inside that we are going to create a 2x2 array of zeros. So let's click on play, and you can see now that we have 2x2 array of zeros, right? And this is also known as a mattress. I'm just calling it a two-dimensional array, but basically a two-dimensional array is also known as a mattress, or in that case, like any multi-dimensional array is also known as a mattress. Now what if instead of zeros we want ones? So what you can do is just remove zeros and we can just call it ones. So let's play it, and you can see that zeros have been replaced by ones. Now what if instead of ones we want just like some kind of a random number? So that is going to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm just going to comment this out so that you guys can follow along, that it has 3 values. So what function we are going to use is known as full, and it will have 3 parameters: the shape, what is the shape of whatever mattress you want to initialize, what is the number that you want there. So for example, in our previous example we had ones and zeros, so this time we are going to have any random number. And what is the data type? So you can have an integer, you can have a float, decimal, whatever you want. So I'm just going to create another variable of b, and now this time instead of ones I'm just going to call it full, and then inside that we are going to create another tuple. The first thing is the shape. We want a 2x2 mattress, and then what is the number we want? Let's just call it 99. And then the last thing, what is the data type that we want? You don't need to give that, it's just optional. So I'm just going to write data type, and just for the sake of argument I'm just going to call it int32, and this needs to be inside single quotes, and that's pretty much it. Let's print this out and see how it looks. So let's print this out, and you'll be able to see that 9999 and has been printed. The matrix is there. Now let's say we don't want to initialize the shape over here. Let's say we want to inherit the shape of any other array or any other matrix. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to 3x3 just for the sake of this example, and I'm going to create another variable of c over here, and this instead of full I'm just going to write full underscore like. So we want to make sure that this matrix kind of looks like the A matrix. So what I'm going to do is, inside this I'm just going to put in A, and what is the number that we want inside this matrix? So I'm just going to put in something like 12. So instead of B this time I'm just going to print out C, and let's see how this looks. So you can see that this array of ones is 3x3, so it just inherited the shape over here and it just printed that out on our screen. Let's say we want evenly spaced numbers between 1 to 10, just for example 1 to 10, and we want each number to be skipped by 2. So let me actually just copy and paste this commit over here. So let's say we want an evenly spaced numbers, then we have to provide some parameters: the starting number, the end number, and the number of numbers needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write it out first, and then we are going to actually understand how this works. Function that we are going to use is known as the Linspace function. So let's just remove this initialization 0 also. So we are just going to write a equals to dot linspace, and then the starting number, let's just start with 1, and the ending number, let's just end with 10, and the number of numbers needed, let's just give it a value of 10, and num equals to 10. So over here, number of numbers needed, actually let me just change this to num equals to number of numbers needed, and then we can also provide the data type if you want, so that you know that it's integer or decimal. So now let's just print this out and see how it looks. So I'm just going to print out the value of A over here, and you can see that we have 10 digits over here, but you can see that they are in kind of decimal format. So if you want, you can just type in d type equals to int32, and this should give us the values in integers. Now what if we want to have 20 numbers that are evenly spaced just instead of 10? So what we can do is we can just write 20 over here and click on play, and you can see that the 1 has been repeated 3 times, then 2 has been repeated 2 times, and so on, and these are 20 digits. Now what if it's going to be a little bit more useful if we remove this data type from here, because it will give us more decimal numbers. So for example, if we click on play, you can see that now that we have gone to decimal over here, they are more evenly spaced. So from 1 to 1.47 to 1.94 to 0.42. So these are all evenly spaced. The difference between them is gonna be equal. So that is actually the power of Linspace, and this is a very useful method to remember because you probably will be using this a lot. The next example is going to be, what if we want to create an array with increasing steps? So let's say we have let's say our starting point is 1 and our ending point is 10. What if we want to increase it by a particular number of steps? So let's say 1 and then 3, then 5, then 7 and then 9. So basically increase it by 2 or increase it by 3, whatever we want. So to do that, we use something known as an arrange. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create another variable, and then I'm just going to write a range. And make sure you don't write double R over here. I have a bad habit of writing double R and it never works. There is a single R over here. So now what we want is, first is what is the starting number. So let's say our starting number is 1. What is the ending number? Ending number is 10, and our gap is going to be by 2, or the step is going to be by 2. So now let's print this out and see how it looks. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now let's increase this to 3 and then see how it looks. So 1, 4, 7. So you can see that the difference between 4 and 1 is 3, and so on. In the next example, we are going to learn how to create random decimal numbers. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to copy and paste this commit over here so that you guys know what's happening. And then to create a random mattress that contains decimal numbers, what we are going to use is np.random.rand. And then inside that we can just provide the shape, so example 2 by 2, and click on play, and this will give us a 2 by 2 random matrix. Now what if we want it to be random but we only want them to be integers? Then we need to use something else. So I'm just going to create another variable over here, and this time we are going to use np.random. Where is the random? Let me just write that down, random, and then rand int instead of just .rand. And then this requires some parameters, so I'm just going to copy this comment over here. That is, we first want the starting random number. Where do you want the random number to be started from, and where do you want it to end it from? And lastly, what is the shape gonna be? So let's say we want a mattress that is 3 by 3, that is, it has 3 rows and 3 columns, and we want that mattress to be between 4 and 25. So what we are going to do is, the starting number is going to be 4 and the end number is going to be 25, and we have to increase it by 1. So I'm just going to write 26 over here, and the shape is going to be 3 by 3. So I'm just going to write size equals to, inside brackets, parentheses, we are just going to write 3 by 3. And now let's just print this out and see how it looks. So this should give us a mattress that is between 4 and 26 and has a shape of 3 by 3. So let's play it. And now you can see over here we have got a random mattress 15, 25, 19, 5, 16, 24. That is in 3 by 3 format. And if we run it again, you can see that the numbers have been changed. The next thing we are going to learn is how to create an identity mattress. I know we are going through these really quickly, but you have to remember that all of this code is going to be on GitHub, and you can just go to the description of this video and have a look at all the things we have discussed in the starting of the video. So don't worry about, just worry about understanding what we are doing over here instead of just remembering all of these methods. So the next thing we are going to do is how to create an identity mattress. If you don't know what an identity mattress is, basically on diagonals it has 1. That's pretty much it, and the rest of the matrix is basically zeros. So to create an identity mattress, I'm just going to call it A, and then we are just going to write simply identity. And the good thing about Numpy is that it has all these cool methods and you don't have to write anything from scratch. So let's just create identity mattress of 5 by 5. And now let's just click on, let me just print this out. So the thing about identity mattress is that the shape is going to be always equal. It's going to be 3 by 3 or 4 by 4 or 5 by 5. So you don't need to provide the second parameter over here. So I'm just going to click on run over here, and it's going to give us a 5 by 5 identity mattress. Let's try changing it up a little bit, 3 by 3, and you can see on the diagonals it has 1. Now what if we want to repeat an array multiple times? So for example, let's say we have a one-dimensional array of 1, 2, 3. Now what if we want to repeat it multiple times and create a maybe 3 by 3 array instead of a 3 by 1 array or 1 by 3 array? So what we are going to do is I'm just going to remove all of the stuff, repeating, make array 2-dimensional and then repeat. So what we're going to do is we are just going to create a simple array, np.array, but because we are going to be repeating it, that's why we first need to make it 2-dimensional. So we are going to just put two square brackets over here, and inside that I'm just going to write 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just going to create another variable called repeat, and then I'm just going to write np.repeat, and it's going to contain 3 parameters. First thing is, what do you want to repeat? So we want to repeat the A array, and then how many times do you want to repeat it? I want to repeat it 3 times. And then in what direction do you want to repeat it? Do you want to repeat it in X direction, or do you want to repeat it in the Y direction? And that is known as axis. So let's first try out the Y direction. So we are just going to put axis equals to 0, and we are just going to print out this rep so that you guys can look what it looks like. So we had a simple array of 1, 2, 3, and then it got repeated 3 times over here. So let's repeat it 5 times just to see how it looks. We're just going to repeat it 5 times, and you can see we have a 3 by 5 array, or a 5 by 3 array. So what we're going to do now is actually, let's just move it back to 3, and instead of axis 0, let's change it to 1 and see how that looks. So this is going to repeat it in the X direction. So guys, this is pretty much it for this video. This was a very simple video. There are just a lot of methods to remember, but don't worry about them too much because all of the code is going to be on GitHub. Just keep them in the back of your mind, and that is going to be more than enough. So in the next video, we are going to learn about a little bit about reorganization. So for example, if you have a 3 by 3 array, how do we reshape that? Or let's say you have an array of 1, 2, 3, or let's say you have a 1-dimensional array of 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you reshape it to a 2 by 2 array and stuff like that? So we are going to be learning that in the next video, and I'll see you over there.